Have you ever asked yourself what really happens when you grow older and suddenly realize you are living completely alone? Not just a peaceful day of quiet rest, but a stretch of days when you wake up in a silent house, eat meals with no one to talk to, and go to bed while the world seems so far away. Loneliness in old age isn't something people often talk about, not because it's unimportant, but because many are afraid that admitting it means weakness. But that feeling is real. And as time goes by, we can start to feel as if we're slowly being left behind, even when the lights are still on, the birds still sing, and life is still happening outside our windows. But here's something you should remember: living alone doesn't mean living in loneliness. You can still live a life that is full of meaning, warmth, and dignity, even if those you once loved have passed on, or the days no longer include familiar voices. In this video, I'll share with you 4 simple but essential things that can help you stay physically healthy, mentally clear, and emotionally steady, even when you're on your own. If you believe that aging is still worth living fully, please hit the subscribe button so we can continue walking this path together. 1. Maintaining a steady daily rhythm, an anchor for the mind and heart. When you start living alone, whether because your spouse has passed, your children have grown and moved away, or simply because you've chosen a quieter lifestyle, time begins to pass differently. The alarms, the appointments, the family meals, the work schedule that once shaped your day no longer exist. And suddenly, each day starts to feel indistinct. You wake up without any particular reason. Some days you have breakfast at noon. Other days you stay in your pajamas until sunset and think nothing of it. A few weeks go by and you realize you can't tell Monday from Thursday anymore. Everything begins to blur, no clear beginning, no clear end. At first it may seem harmless, but the truth is the human mind needs structure. A string of unstructured days can leave your brain adrift. You may feel disoriented, sleep poorly, eat without appetite, forget simple things, and find your emotions hard to manage. That's why one of the most important things you can do when living alone is to rebuild your daily rhythm. It doesn't have to be complex. You don't need to fill every hour, but you do need just enough structure to give your mind something to rely on, something to look forward to, and boundaries that remind you you are living with intention. Here's a gentle way to begin. Wake up at the same time each morning. Open the curtains and let natural light fill the room. Put on clean, comfortable clothes even if you're not going out. Prepare a proper breakfast, not something rushed. Write down 2 or 3 things you'd like to do today, even if it's just taking a short walk or calling an old friend. Eat lunch and dinner at regular times. Turn off the lights and go to bed at a consistent hour. These small routines repeated daily form a framework for your time. And that structure helps maintain your mental clarity, emotional balance, and even your memory naturally and gently. Mr. Robert, 84, lives alone in Pennsylvania. After his wife passed, he admitted that he used to let the days drift by. Some days he lay on the sofa all day and didn't bother to get dressed. But one day he decided to wake up early, brew coffee, and play classical music at 7 a.m. That one change, he said, gave his day a starting point. A few weeks later, he wrote out a schedule and taped it to his refrigerator. Now each day has a rhythm, not busy, but steady enough to make him feel like he's in charge of his life again. If you've ever felt like time is slipping by without meaning, try creating a rhythm starting tomorrow morning. And if this part speaks to you, please leave a comment with the number 1. I'd love to hear how you start your day, and maybe your story will inspire someone else. 2. Gentle daily movement. A reminder that your body still matters. Living alone often means we move less. You wake up, walk from the bedroom to the kitchen, then to the living room, and that might be most of your day. The short walks you once took, taking your grandchild to school, going to the market, walking with your spouse, are now quiet memories. As time goes on, you start to feel subtle changes: a stiffer back, sore knees, taking longer to stand up from your favorite chair. And what's more concerning is that you begin to avoid movement, as if each step must now be weighed and considered. But listen carefully, your body is still here, still faithfully carrying you, and what it needs from you isn't surrender, it's a gentle reminder: I still need you. You don't need heavy workouts. You don't need expensive equipment. What you need is to keep your body moving gently and regularly so your muscles, joints, and heartbeat know they still matter, just like they always have. Here are a few simple ways to start. While the kettle is heating, stand up and stretch for 30 seconds. Before sitting down, practice standing up and sitting down 5 times slowly. Walk a few laps around your home or your porch after lunch. Roll your wrists, rotate your shoulders, lift your heels gently. Turn on your favorite music and move slowly with the rhythm, even if it's just 2 steps back and forth. Movement improves circulation, keeps your joints flexible, strengthens your balance, and more than that, it tells your mind, I am still engaged with life. Mrs. Eleanor, 79, lives alone in a small town in Montana. After her husband passed, she spent most of her days sitting by the window. One morning while checking the mailbox, she decided to walk just a little farther. At first, it was just to the flagpole, she said then, to the end of the street. Now she takes a gentle walk around her neighborhood each morning. She doesn't call it exercise, she simply says, it's how I remind myself I still belong in this world. Nothing is too small to begin with. And it's never too late to let your body know that it is still appreciated, still loved, still worth caring for. If today you walked just a little more than yesterday, or even just stood up when you didn't feel like it, leave a comment with the number 2. We'd love to acknowledge every small step you take, because those quiet movements are proof of your dignity, your resilience, and your deep love for yourself. 3. Staying connected, even if it's just a simple hello. One of the biggest changes when living alone isn't just the absence of voices. It's the fact that you're no longer being called by name. No one messages to ask how you are. No laughter echoes from the kitchen, no goodnight whispers from down the hall. You might go an entire day or several without speaking to a single person. And no matter how strong you are, extended silence can leave a quiet ache in your heart. We are made to connect. Humans need more than air to live. We need to feel heard, seen, and reminded that someone still knows we're here. But connection doesn't have to be loud or long. It doesn't require big family dinners or crowded events. Sometimes all it takes is a glance, a wave, a warm greeting from the mail carrier, or a simple message that says, I've been thinking about you. Small gestures can have powerful meaning because they gently say, I see you. You're still part of this world. If it's been a while since you spoke to someone, try something simple. Call an old friend just to say hello. Write a letter to your grandchild or a high school friend. Send a thank you email to your doctor or librarian. Wave to a neighbor while checking the mail. Leave a kind note for the newspaper delivery person. Mr. Frank, 81, lives alone in suburban Chicago. For nearly 3 months during the winter, he hardly left his home. But one morning in March, he taped a small note to his door. Hello. Thank you for always delivering the mail on time. The next day, the mail carrier wrote back, thank you, your note made my day. From then on, they greeted each other each morning, a few words, but enough to warm Mr. Frank's entire day. If you're living alone and craving a little connection, remember you don't have to wait for someone else to start the conversation. A simple act from you might be exactly what someone else is hoping for. And sometimes your light becomes the light for another. If this reminds you of someone, a memory, or something you'd like to do today, leave a comment with the number 3. We're always listening, and we're honored to be part of your conversation. 4. A sense of purpose. The reason you smile. Each morning, there's something people rarely say out loud, yet many feel deeply, the quiet pain of no longer feeling needed. It doesn't come like a sudden storm. It arrives slowly when the grandkids get busy, when calls become less frequent, when your work responsibilities are gone, and the roles that once defined you start to fade. And then you find yourself waking up in the morning asking, what am I getting up for today? But let me say this clearly, and from the heart, your purpose in life doesn't disappear with age. It simply changes shape, and you still have every right and the ability to create new purpose, even if it seems small. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to impress anyone. It just needs to give you a reason to get out of bed, to look forward to something, to feel like you still matter. That purpose might be taking care of the orchid blooming on your windowsill, writing down stories from your life so your grandchildren will one day understand your journey, knitting a scarf to give as a holiday gift, writing handwritten letters in a world that's forgotten how, spending 10 quiet minutes each morning in prayer meditation or simply in peace. Mrs. Clara, 80, lives alone in Maine. After retiring, she felt lost. I used to be so busy, always part of the community, she said. When no one asked for my opinion anymore, I felt invisible. But one day she came across an old photo album. She started writing little notes next to the photos, recalling memories. Then she began writing a little more each day, not to publish, but to remember. I wasn't writing for anyone else. She said I was writing for me. And suddenly I felt real again. You don't need anyone's permission to have purpose. All you need is one thing, just one that you can nurture every day. That thing will shape your time, guide your spirit, and make your life feel grounded again. If you've ever wondered whether you still have something to give, please remember this: if you still feel you still have something to offer. And if today you're thinking about something that once made your heart beat faster, a hobby you let go of, a dream you tucked away, leave a comment with the number 4. Simply speaking it aloud might be your first step toward a new journey. Conclusion: being alone doesn't mean being forgotten. Growing older and living alone can bring about big changes. It invites you into a space of quiet, sometimes in your home, sometimes in your heart. But one thing you must always remember: being alone does not mean being left behind, and it certainly doesn't mean your story's over. On the contrary, living alone can be an opportunity, an invitation to listen more deeply to yourself, to slow down with intention, and to reorganize life in a way that finally feels like yours. It's the time when you can care for your body at your own rhythm, calm your thoughts with gentler habits, and find peace that comes from within, not from the noise around you. We've walked through 4 essential things together: creating a steady daily rhythm, moving gently to protect your body and mind, reaching out for small but meaningful connection, and finding a quiet purpose that gives your days meaning. None of us can stop the aging process, but we can choose how we experience it: with dignity, with calm, with a steady belief that we still matter and still have so much to give. You don't have to do it alone. We are here listening, sharing, and walking beside you. If something in this video touched your heart, I would truly love it if you left a comment below. Share what you're already doing or what you hope to begin tomorrow. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe to this channel so we can meet again in the next one. I believe the journey of aging becomes softer, deeper, and more meaningful when we choose not to walk through it alone. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope to see you again in the next video with a warm cup of tea, a grounded spirit, and a heart still full of love.